But where's
What do you make
Joseph
of it?
Wall? Where's Joseph Wall?
I don't know why
understand.
Wall. I thought the same thing. Wall plays tonight, and then Wall plays Monday. This honestly leads me to believe Murray's going tonight and Monday. I'm not convinced Wall's playing on Monday at all.
Is he playing on Saturday?
I don't know, because it's a good point. Today at the skate, he wasn't even on the ice.
And they said it was maintenance.
This is my biggest fear, man. This is the biggest fear, and it's a mojo thing. And let me clarify where I was yesterday, because we were having a conversation, Noodles, on should it be Hildeby, should it be Murray.
Yeah.
I thought they'd stick with Hildeby. I know Hildeby hasn't been great, but to me, they've won with him. He's young. He's got a future with this team. If they want him to go down there and start playing, so be it. I will give Matt Murray a ton of credit for battling back to the National Hockey League. It is a story that cannot be rained down with negativity. There's a difference between should he be playing or not, but now that he is, 628 days since his last NHL start, he's made a ton of money. He's won cups. He could have easily said, I'm out of here. I don't need to do this. He went through the surgery. He went through the rehab. He battled. He went down to the minors and rode the buses, and now he's back. Yeah. So full credit to Matt Murray. It is an incredible story that he's doing this. But the idea that he's going tonight and Joseph Wall is not on the ice for maintenance when Stolarz is out for upwards of 6 weeks, if not more, this is just exactly what you were always concerned about. And I'm telling you, if Joseph Wall is not skating out and playing tomorrow, because he is going to back up. They did say he's going to dress tonight and back up. If he doesn't play tomorrow night and he's injured already with something that's tweaked, it's worse than opening night. I don't know if it's worse than what happened in Game 7, but this is when the team needs you. You're 26 years old. They've committed to you. And I don't want to get out in front of it without knowing exactly what's happening yet, but it is a little bit strange that he's not playing tonight and he was not even on the ice this morning.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's just a flu or something, but maintenance, I don't know what that means.
But they would have said that, right?
They would have. I don't understand. Listen, Matt Murray, Jonas, you and I were back and forth today. Like, I understand Matt Murray. Here's the problem that I have when you're developing, because my understanding, and I laid eyes on this guy live, the Russian, I don't want to butcher his last name because
that should be his nickname, just the Russian.
The Russian, the
like
Russian
he's from
goaltender with the Marlies.
Rocky movie.
He's got some upside. Like, he looks like he's going to be a goaltender, which is really good for the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs because he's young and he's got to go through the process. But there's 3 goalies in the minors, so that's the other thing. You've got Hildeby, Murray, and the Russian, and there's not enough net. That's the challenge. Like, when Hildeby came up, I did the game on the panel. I'm like, this guy's played 6 games with the Marlies. Mm-hmm. So it's tough to get into a groove when you talk to, people around the Marlies or whatever. Yeah, he's been okay, but, hasn't played a lot because there's 3 goalies. It's a rotation. So it's tough. Like, I understand the thought process behind Matt Murray because it's exactly what you just laid out, Brian. Because if Joseph Wall's not available, Matt Murray has to be. Like, this is an NHL vet who's done everything. It's a good signing by Brad Treliving because this is your insurance policy. That's your Martin Jones, but this guy's won cups. Martin Jones has won a cup too.
Assuming he gets back to that level. I know he's played well with the Marlies, but he also, Martin Jones was a guy who was playing back-to-backs last year.
He played 50 games the year before.
Played a ton of games in the year before.
I get it.
Like, Murray is a totally different wild card because of his history, because of the injuries. And that's what we were saying yesterday. Like, a Murray-Joseph Wall tandem is a terrifying proposition, I would think, for the training staff, for the coach, for the GM.
For the training staff.
Like, honestly, they're thinking we're in one here. Like, we're in the storm. We're not back on the shore, right? We're in the storm.
They're in there with you.
In there with me. I'm braving the elements, man. But, again, once they're playing, you're good. Once the puck drops, like, they'll be okay, you would think, unless it's not like Stolarz did leave the game in the second period the other night. But it's getting to puck drop is a mystery, and maybe this was the plan anyway. Murray or Hildeby would go tonight. I figured Wall would go tonight, off tomorrow, and then play Monday against Winnipeg. It's an afternoon game too.
That's what raised my alarms a little bit. Is like he's going to play Saturday night, and then he's going to play 2:00 on Monday. Is that
I'll believe it when
now?
I see it. Unfortunately,
a different goaltender, I'd be like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, of course.
But it's not a different goaltender.
Like if it's Hellebuck's of course doing that.
Course.
Like no
Hellebuck's
question.
playing every game. Doesn't matter to him. But you're right. Like the trust factor. I think that's what it is, though. Until we don't have to have these conversations, they're still there because we don't have a large book on Joseph Woll. We don't have a large book on Anthony Stolarz. Really, Matt Murray, we don't have. What's the book on Matt Murray that we've seen over the last couple of years? Him in and out of the organization, unavailable, then sent to the minors. Like to me, the book is kind of
it's like
jaded
a pamphlet.
a little bit.
Yeah,
like it just so. That's the biggest challenge. Now you see Hildeby get some games. He's a big goaltender. I think he needs some growth there. But it's still a question mark where, what was it, Hayes? 10 days ago, we're talking like the Leafs have the best tandem in the league.
Yeah.
You're going.
Hayes wanted Woll to play every game.
I wanted him to play a lot, and here's the issue, right?
Yeah, there you go. This is what I told you.
I hear you, but like you said yesterday, you want to play the top line together to know what you've got. I would say it's the same thing with Woll.
That's not the same.
You got to actually expect the guy to play at some point.
Well,
again, he hasn't been ruled out for anything, so I don't.
No,
want
to be
jump
clear,
to conclusions.
They have said he is available.
Yes,
but he also did not skate after a day off.
After a day off yesterday, and it's Joseph Woll,
who didn't play on opening night.
Or Game 7, the biggest game of his career. And listen, Matthews didn't either.
Yes.
And Austin, he's going to play tonight, but Austin didn't skate this morning, which is not the end of the world. But it is December. He missed 3 weeks. There have been different shifts. I think we've all seen it where it looks like he's laboring a little bit. There are times where the Jets go on. Like you think of that Jersey game. He took off a few times through the neutral zone, and you could tell he had his wheels. And then a couple of times over the last few games, I think the three of us, and I think everyone's seen it, you're like, it looks like he's lagging a little bit. Here's what Craig Berube had to say on the plan for Austin Matthews moving forward.
It's tough. I mean, he's fighting through it, and he's doing, he's doing a pretty good job out there on the ice. Like, he's producing and playing hard and working, and, we just got to manage it. It'll get better. We just got to manage it, though, and, that's why he's off the ice today.
So
manage what?
That's the thing. No one knows what they're managing.
Yeah. So why is he playing tonight?
Well, I mean,
and why would he play tomorrow?
The guy's got to. I guess they believe that it can't get worse. What I would question there again with Craig Berube is very blunt and kind of matter of fact, and I don't think he puts a ton of thought into details of anything in the future. He just seems like a guy that's locked in the moment, which I appreciate, and I think that's important in pro sports. It's not his job to necessarily worry about 3 months. He has details of the game and all that kind of stuff in preparing. But he has almost become a meme, Craig has, with everything's day-to-day. Everything's going to get better. Everyone's okay. And I don't know how much you can really rely on that update. I think if you're a Leaf fan and you're listening to that, there has to be some genuine concern about Austin Matthews. And what his status is, and will it actually improve to the point where he's one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world again when it really matters at the end of the year?
I'm more concerned, guys, and I don't know how this has just come about. It's like, he's fighting through something. I thought they shut him down so that he came back 100%.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, he's kind of fighting through something, but they're confident enough. Obviously, if he's playing, listen, their doctor staff, I know them. They are the best on the planet. I'm not lying. The Leafs they afford the best. They bring the best. I have full faith in that medical staff. They are the best. So it's obviously something they're not concerned because he's putting a jersey on. But it is a little bit weird. Is it just something he's going to have to live with the rest of his life? Is it something that it's going to take a couple months just through osmosis to work through? I don't know. We don't know those answers. But I didn't know where we arrived back to, he's kind of fighting something. I'm like, I thought that was the time off so that he could heal
Noodles,
and not fight something.
Think further back. So training camp happens. Something happens, right? Where something happens. We don't know the injury, but something happens.
Leafs facing center crisis amid injuries, eyeing trade market for solutions. As the Toronto Maple Leafs battle through a growing injury list and a suspension, their lack of depth at the center position has become a glaring issue. According to Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman in his latest 32 Thoughts article, the Leafs are among the teams exploring trade options to bolster their lineup. This effort is coming amid increasing competition from teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and Nashville Predators, who have also set their sights on improving their center depth. Friedman didn't mince words about the Leafs' predicament. The teams currently focusing on centers, including Chicago and Nashville, must consider when others will enter the market. Toronto will undoubtedly be one of those teams, he wrote. While the Blackhawks and Predators may have an edge in terms of cap space and assets, the Leafs remain a team to watch as the season progresses. The Leafs situation is urgent, with up to 7 forwards currently unavailable due to injury or suspension. Ryan Reeves is serving a 5-game suspension, while key players like Auston Matthews, upper body, Matthew Knies, upper body, Kaje Jarnkrok, groin/sports hernia, David Kampf, lower body, Max Domi, lower body, and Max Pacioretty, lower body, are all sidelined. The team has even considered temporarily shifting Mitch Marner to the center position, highlighting the severity of their depth issues. This isn't just a short-term concern for the Leafs. Depth at center has been a persistent challenge for the team, and while stopgap solutions like Marner could help in the interim, the front office appears keen to explore longer-term fixes. For fans of the blue and white, this has been a recurring theme. The Leafs' center depth often becomes a problem at the worst possible times. James Myrtle of The Athletic recently added more fuel to the speculation, naming several potential trade targets who could help the Leafs address their issues. Among them is Ryan O'Reilly, a familiar name for Toronto fans. O'Reilly, who signed a 4-year, $18 million deal with Nashville in 2023, might be a trade candidate if the Predators' underwhelming start to the season, 6-11-3, 31st in the league, prompts a rebuild. However, his steep price tag and history with the Leafs, including rejecting a free agency offer less than 2 years ago, make this a complex and potentially unlikely move. Other names mentioned by Myrtle include former Leaf Nazem Kadri, currently with Calgary, as well as players like Michael Granlund, Nick Jugstad, Brock Nelson, Yanni Gourde, Trent Frederic, Radek Faksa, and Sean Kuraly. While some of these options seem more plausible than others, it's clear that general manager Brad Treliving will need to get creative to find the right piece without mortgaging the team's future. Cap space remains one of the biggest obstacles for the Leafs. Unlike teams like Chicago and Nashville, which have more flexibility and assets, Toronto is walking a financial tightrope. As Friedman noted, competition will intensify as cap-constrained teams strive to create room. For the Leafs, that could mean waiting for the market to develop further, a risky move given their current needs. The situation also highlights the Leafs' ongoing struggle to build a roster that can withstand the grueling nature of an NHL season. Injuries are an inevitability in hockey, but Toronto's current predicament underscores the importance of depth, a quality the team has struggled to consistently maintain. Looking back on recent years, the Leafs have often leaned heavily on their star players, particularly Matthews, Marner, and William Nylander. While these players have delivered in spades, the lack of reliable depth options has left the team vulnerable in critical moments. The current crisis at center is merely the latest example of this recurring issue. Some fans have called for more aggressive moves from Treliving, arguing that now is the time to strike while the team's core is in its prime. Others, however, are more cautious, pointing to the dangers of overpaying for short-term fixes. Striking the right balance will be key, especially as the Leafs aim to keep their championship window open. Despite the challenges, there's no denying that Toronto has the talent to be a contender, provided they can patch up their lineup. The ongoing rumors and speculation surrounding potential trades show that the Leafs are at least exploring every avenue to strengthen their roster. For fans of the blue and white, this moment feels like a pivotal point in the season. With a lineup ravaged by injuries and a tough schedule ahead, the Leafs must act decisively to avoid falling behind in the standings. The addition of a dependable center could be the difference between weathering the storm or watching another season slip away. Whether it's O'Reilly, Kadri, or another surprise name, one thing is certain: the Leafs are under pressure to deliver. And for a fan base as passionate and loyal as Toronto's, there's no room for excuses. The time to act is now, and Leafs Nation is watching closely. As the trade deadline approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Treliving pull off a move that solidifies the Leafs' status as a contender, or will the search for center depth become yet another chapter in the team's long history of what-ifs? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure: it's never boring in Leafs land. As the Maple Leafs navigate this critical juncture, their fan base remains as vocal as ever. Toronto is a city that breathes hockey, and the pressure on Brad Treliving to make the right moves is immense. Every decision he makes, or doesn't make, will be scrutinized, from talk radio to social media, where Leafs Nation is already debating the merits of the various names being floated as potential trade targets. Among the louder debates is whether the team should prioritize a high-profile acquisition like Ryan O'Reilly or Nazem Kadri, or focus on a lower-cost, reliable center who can fill a supporting role without costing too many future assets. While O'Reilly's leadership and playoff experience make him an attractive option, his contract and recent history with the Leafs add layers of complexity to any potential reunion. Similarly, Kadri's gritty, two-way playstyle remains a fan favorite, but his cap hit and availability might render him an unrealistic target. Another factor complicating the Leafs situation is their tight salary cap. While Chicago and Nashville can make moves with relative ease due to their financial flexibility, Toronto must navigate a labyrinth of constraints to make any trade work. This likely means including salary retention or moving existing contracts to make room, which could drive up the cost of any potential deal. The question then becomes, how much are the Leafs willing to sacrifice to address their immediate needs? One potential trade partner generating buzz is the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde, a dependable two-way center, has been mentioned as a possible target. Gourde's versatility and championship pedigree from his time with Tampa Bay make him an appealing option. Seattle, however, is in playoff contention and may not be inclined to part with a key piece unless the Leafs can provide a substantial return. Another intriguing name is Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders. Nelson is a consistent scorer and reliable faceoff-man, qualities that would undoubtedly bolster Toronto's center depth. However, the Islanders are notoriously cautious when it comes to trades, and prying Nelson away would likely require a significant package, including picks or prospects that the Leafs may be hesitant to part with. For all the trade talk, some analysts believe the solution might come from within. Sheldon Keefe has shown a willingness to experiment with his lineup, and players like Pontus Holmberg or Fraser Minten could be given an opportunity to step up. While relying on less experienced players carries risks, it might be the Leafs' only option if the trade market proves too costly or slow to develop. Adding to the Leafs' urgency is the timing. The Atlantic Division remains one of the toughest in the league, with teams like Boston, Florida, and Tampa Bay continuing to dominate. Any prolonged slump could see Toronto slip further down the standings, putting their playoff hopes in jeopardy. For a team with Stanley Cup aspirations, failing to address their weaknesses could have catastrophic consequences. Brad Treliving's history as a general manager suggests he's not afraid to make bold moves. His time with the Calgary Flames was marked by blockbuster trades, including the acquisition of Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in the Matthew Tkachuk deal. Leafs fans hope he brings that same decisiveness to Toronto, especially as the trade deadline looms. Beyond the immediate need for a center, this situation underscores a broader issue with the Leafs roster construction. Depth has been a perennial concern, and while Toronto boasts some of the league's top-end talent, their reliance on a handful of stars has left them vulnerable in moments like this. Moving forward, addressing this imbalance must be a priority for the front office if the team is to achieve sustained success. As the Leafs head into a critical stretch of the season, the next few weeks could define their trajectory.